am unwell. I need to calm down. You guys, this is not a drill. Please send help. Okay, Hunger Games fans, come here. Let's chat. I know we all need emotional support right now, so let's be there for each other. So today I woke up and I was like, I'm not gonna go on my phone. I'm just gonna read for a few minutes. I was peacefully reading in bed, thinking I would live today in peace. And my phone addiction compelled me to open Instagram. And this is what I see. I'm kidding. This is what I see. And at first, I'm looking at my phone and I'm like, is this real? I was like, this cannot be real.
Real or not real? Real.
I never thought the day would come. A new Hunger Games book? I audibly screamed. I literally went like that and went, ah! This morning because I couldn't believe what I saw. To the point where I literally checked the date and I was like, is it April Fool's Day? No, honor, it's June. It's not April 1st. So this is what we know so far. The first Instagram post I saw was on the Songbirds and Snakes Instagram, not the Hunger Games Instagram, which I thought was really interesting. So they didn't give an official cover, but it's just like an announcement cover. And it's called Sunrise on the Reaping. It says a new Hunger Games novel, Sunrise on the Reaping, coming March 18th, 2025. Final cover to be revealed. And the caption says, just announced, a new Hunger Games novel by Suzanne Collins coming March 18th, 2025. Could not believe my eyes. Could not believe my eyes. Sunrise on the Reaping will revisit the world of Panem 24 years before the events of the Hunger Games, starting on the morning of the reaping of the 50th Hunger Games, also known as the Second Quarter Quell. Pre-order today. Guess who won the 50th Hunger Games / the Second Quarter Quell? That's right, Haymitch Abernathy. He is one of my favorite characters in the whole series because his story is so devastating and he's just such a complex character that I think exploring more of his character and how he was as a child and how he came to be that way will be so interesting. So they haven't said who the POV will be from, who's the main character, anything like that. That's all they've announced, but that would be really mean if it wasn't Haymitch, right? I don't think it's going to be from his point of view, since the only point of view the series has ever been from has been Katniss's in the trilogy, and then in the Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes it was third person. And I don't know if she's just sticking to first person for Katniss, or if Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes it was just like a stylistic choice to do third person. I guess we won't know until it comes out. But I've been seeing a lot of conversation online today about people saying they want different point of views from like the Capitals, Caesar Flickerman. Another really important character that's going to be in it is Maisley Donner. So Haymitch's backstory and games has been very much requested in the fandom for her to write a book about it since the trilogy. We get a glimpse at his games in Catching Fire, but I just think he is one of the most beautifully complex characters in the whole series, and I'm so excited for this. I was gonna say you have no idea, but I'm hoping if you clicked on this video then you do understand and you do have an idea. So I'm having a mental breakdown over this. Like, how are we supposed to stay calm? I don't know. And then the Hunger Games / Suzanne Collins / Lionsgate has the audacity to announce the movie date like a couple hours later. The book announcement and the movie announcement on the same day. I was like, what do you mean? What do you mean we're getting a Haymitch book?
What do you mean? What do you mean?
And it's so funny because obviously we knew that there was going to be a movie, but I cannot believe that they announced it the same day and already have a release date. If anything, I thought that we would have gotten Phoenix because he was in a career district, and I think that seeing the life in a career district would be really interesting and that she would want to write about that since we've seen District 12. But I am so pleasantly surprised, and all of you guys that are like, no, we don't need a Haymitch's games because we already saw it in the Catching Fire, like that's never gonna happen. Guess what? It happened. Suzanne Collins really looked around at what was going in the world and said, I need to say something. She is just such an amazing author because she doesn't just write novels to make money. She writes them when she really feels like she has to say something, because, you know, she could be writing books and movies about all the games. People would eat that up, but she's very intentional with what she puts out, which is why I never thought that we would get another book from her. And she's also not in the public eye at all. She doesn't have social media. She never really does interviews. And she did say a couple things about this new book coming out, so I'm going to read them. She said, "With Sunrise on the Reaping, I was inspired by David Hume's idea of implicit submission, and in his words, the easiness in which the many are governed by the few. The story also lent itself to a deeper dive into the use of propaganda and the power of those who control the narrative. The question, real or not real, seems more pressing every day." And this is so true and so prominent with everything that's going in the world today. I never know what to believe. With how much propaganda is going on, it's really, really hard to trust any source. And I just think it's amazing that she is using a story that we all love to make a statement about what's going on in the world today. So let me just backtrack and explain who Haymitch is and what we know about this book so far, for anyone that isn't insane like me and may not remember that stuff. So if you've seen the original trilogy of the Hunger Games, Haymitch is Katniss's mentor. So what are the mentors? So every tribute should have mentors, and that means that they are people, they're victors in their district who have won. So Haymitch was the only living victor from District 12, so he was Peeta and Katniss's mentor in the Hunger Games and in Catching Fire. When we're first introduced to him, we know he has a drinking problem. Katniss doesn't like him, but she doesn't like anyone, so that's not surprising. And if you want to freshen up on his backstory and his games, it's in Catching Fire in chapter 14. So the reason we see it is because Peeta and Katniss are preparing for the 75th Hunger Games, which is the Quarter Quell. And they're watching all these past victors' games that they're competing against to try to understand like their mind and their style and all of that. But obviously they don't watch Haymitch's with him because why would he want to watch that? It's so traumatizing. So then Haymitch goes to sleep and Katniss and Peeta are up and they're like, should we watch his games? So then they do. So Haymitch was reaped in the second Quarter Quell, and basically what a Quarter Quell is it's every 25 years. So it was the 25th Hunger Games, the 50th, and the 75th, and there's a new rule for those. So normally there's just one boy and one girl picked from each district, but in, I believe, the 25th one, I think people basically nominated people to get picked. You had to write someone's name down to go, and whoever had their name written down the most were their tributes. And then the 50th Games, which is Haymitch's, they did double the amount of tributes. So they picked 2 boys and 2 girls from each district. And then the 75th, which we see in Catching Fire, they picked the tributes based on the existing pool of victors. So in this chapter, they actually see the reaping from District 12. So we don't know about the other 2 tributes, but we know that Haymitch is picked and this girl named Maisley Donner. And it's really interesting because in the tape, we see Maisley Donner hug Katniss's mom. So we're kind of thinking that Katniss's mom will have more of a story in this, and then Maisley will, and I'm so excited about that because she's such a small part, but like really significant, and I would love to explore that more. Then there's a clip of Haymitch getting interviewed by Caesar Flickerman, and Caesar asks him, "So Haymitch, what do you think of the games having 100% more competitors than usual?" Haymitch shrugs, "I don't see that it makes much difference. They'll still be 100% as stupid as usual. So I figure my odds will be roughly the same." The audience bursts out laughing and Haymitch gives him a half smile, snarky, arrogant, and different. So I definitely think that if we get his point of view, it'll be really funny. And he is, you know, funny and cheeky in the trilogy, so it's interesting that he's always been like that. So this is what happened during his games. Basically all the 48 tributes, like, rose out of the ground and they saw the most beautiful arena that they've ever seen. So much so that some of them were so taken aback that they didn't even jump off of the pedestal like when the cannon went off. But Haymitch did. He ran to the cornucopia, grabbed what he needed, and ran immediately into the woods. 18 tributes died in the bloodbath, the cornucopia, immediately. And everything in this arena was poisonous. So if there was any water, it was poisonous. Flowers, if you were too close to smelling them, you died because they were poisonous. If you tried to eat anything, it was poisonous. The only safe things were from sponsors or from the cornucopia. Haymitch then runs into 3 career tributes. He kills 2 of them and is about to be killed by the 3rd one when Maisley, the girl from his district, shoots him with a poisonous dart gun at saving Haymitch's life. So then they decide to be allies because they think that if they stick together that they'll live longer. Then Haymitch decides that he wants them to go to the end of the arena because he thinks that he'll find something there. So he drives Maisley along there, and at this point a bunch of the tributes have died and there aren't many more left. So Maisley makes the decision to part because they both say, hey, we don't want to kill each other, so I think at this time we have to go our separate ways. So Maisley leaves and then he throws a rock off of the cliff and the rock bounces back to him. So he realizes that the force field around it, you can bounce things off the force field. Then he hears Maisley scream and he runs over to her, and she was attacked by birds, and that's how she died. Also, some of the career tributes died from a volcano. That's just like a little backstory. So then it comes down to Haymitch and a girl from District 1, which is a career district, so she's very skilled at fighting, and she's bigger than him, it says in the book. They really go to combat. Haymitch's guts are spilling out and he's literally holding his intestines in. One of her eyes are missing. It sounds really, really brutal. So I don't know how much of that they're gonna show in the movie. It's gory, but it's not like horror movie gory. Usually the rating isn't that high, so this will be interesting. But essentially, Haymitch is standing against the cliff, like the back end of the cliff. District 1 tribute throws an axe at him. He dives down onto the ground, and then she doesn't know about the force field, and the axe bounces back and kills her. It goes into her head. Although I think that this is a really smart way to win, the Capitol did not think that way. They thought that he outsmarted them, and to punish him, they killed his girlfriend and his entire family. So that horrible situation mixed just with general trauma from the games leads Haymitch to have his drinking problem. Also, it's really interesting. Also, the reason Katniss doesn't like him is because he keeps telling them that they're gonna die. But if you think about it, ever since his games, he has mentored these tributes year after year after year, and all of them have died. So he has a really grim outlook on it, which is so fair. So that is what we know already about the games, and I think it's really interesting because in the book they watch Haymitch's games, but it's not shown in the movie, and I don't know if they did that intentionally because they thought that they would make a movie about the 50th quarter quell, or if it was just a coincidence. I don't know. It's kind of interesting to think about. It'll be really interesting to see who they cast. Also, who they cast as Snow and Caesar Flickerman, just because of the age. They're supposed to be 24 years younger than they are in the trilogy, and obviously the actors have aged since then, so that'll be really interesting. I also think it'll be really interesting to see the technology that they use in the games and just the general world building of Panem, because we saw it during the 10th Hunger Games. Obviously, it still had high technology because it's in the future, but not nearly as good as we see in the trilogy. So I wonder if the technology won't be as good in this games. Now let's talk about the actual name, Sunrise on the Reaping. So the movie actually starts the morning of the reaping, which is interesting because that's how the first Hunger Games movie starts. I really like the title. I'm not sure exactly why she chose sunrise. I don't know if something's gonna happen then that's really important, or if basically just the sunrise on the reaping is the day that changes Haymitch's whole life. But I'm super excited to see the cover and why she chose that title. But what do you guys think? What are your opinions? Who do you want cast? Are you excited for this? Just please, let's start a conversation in the comments. The fact that we have to wait 9 months for the book and over 2 years for the movie, that's what's crazy about the movie release date. I'm like, how have they even cast it? What have they done? Usually we know once a movie's officially casted and that stuff, so it must be super early in the production process and they just put the date out there. I don't know. But I will definitely be doing a reading vlog when the book comes out. I'll probably do reactions if there's any other announcements, like to the trailer. I also might do a reread of the first 4 books, and if I do, I'll vlog that. Just let me know what you want to see. Subscribe if you want to see those videos coming up. I'm so happy we can all experience this together. Thanks for watching. Bye!